Beep, 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 beep.
How is that possible? I'm sorry. What a timing.
Best entrance ever. Done.
Okay, so we're live. That's our new tune. Hi, everybody. So good to have you back with us. We're so sorry about last time, the technical issues. It seems to be okay today. So we're crossing fingers, but if anything happens, we have a backup today. So don't worry. So this is our last sessions with two very special ladies. You want to say something, Estefanía?
I love them. I think they need no presentation. They're like just Sarah and Leela Petronio.
Yeah.
Blueberries in just hands.
Let's bring them in. Okay, here they come. Great.
Oh.
Hi.
Hello,
So
ladies.
good to have you back.
Yes.
So good to be back.
It's cute. Tea?
New cup
Oh,
today.
T for one again.
T for one, T for two.
Well, tea for me and myself.
Oh, okay.
Too. So let's wait for people to get in.
Yes, we have 8 people as for now.
Leela, you're looking at me?
Who, me?
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put my gaze like
Yeah, I'm
central.
trying to do that too. I don't know where.
In the middle.
In the middle.
Nobody.
Okay.
Oh, why?
Yes, it doesn't matter.
No.
We have subtitles?
We do? Oh, that's fancy.
I don't know if you see that, but we have subtitles.
Subtitles.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
I think that's a new effect of Facebook.
Subtitles in English, like it's in
Yes.
English? Oh.
Wow.
But-
that's good.
Si hablo en castellano, ¿qué pasa? Oh, it's really late. Wait, I'm waiting. I'm curious right now.
So guys,
No.
tell us who's there, so we know who's there listening to us today.
Yeah, that was nice last week.
Yes, it was
say
very
hi.
nice to see people
It
from
wasn't last week.
Germany.
Yeah.
No, it's just in English. I just check it.
In English?
Subtitles are just in English. If you talk in Spanish,
Doesn't work.
no. So, where's the audience? Where's listening the audience from? No place. We have shy people.
Can we
Well,
have
they
some
want-
cheering and everything like, wow, no?
Well,
So we can start.
Yes.
well, for
Yes,
sure.
let's start. People will eventually come in.
Yes. So we decide, as this is the last session that we have with these two lovely ladies.
And
Trying-
I'm Daniel. Sorry.
Yay!
Düsseldorf.
Oh, 6
Hello,
friends.
guys.
We don't feel so alone, see?
No,
Hi,
normally I think there's a delay or something like this.
Yes, of course. We're like 10 seconds after ish.
Oh, that's why it's like I feel alone. Okay. So I was trying to say because it's the last session, trying to do like a small recap of why they're here and
That's good.
why we thought it was important to talk with them and to make them share. And all the things that we were saying was around like the revival, Renaissance.
Don't get so close.
Yeah, I'm going back. No, talk. I'm
Going
just-
back to
Yes, about this and then around just this simple idea. I have like many different topics inside of this thing. For example, all the jazz shows that you both did
Mhm.
since the beginning till the late shows that you're doing to. All around what we're talking with Leela about be a producer in that era. And I think right now also it's also a thing. What else? I have a personal question about the relationships and how they were built and how you keep them through the years,
Yeah.
like inside of the community. And I don't know, I think inside of these things, people can start asking around these things. And if not, we can just pick one of the topics and talk around this thing a little bit.
Great.
Sure.
And then
What-
we'll have like, if people have like specific questions outside of these things, like the other day they were asking about teaching or composition or this kind of things, there's a space for this too. But maybe we need like a space to cover the things that we think they're important. And then we have fun, as always.
I have a question. What if one of the people watching wants to ask a question? What do they do?
They need to write it.
To write?
Yes. So
It's on the right side of the screen. for us.
Oh,
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
so any questions? Yeah, we
But-
don't hear you guys.
That's yeah.
So if
So-
you have a question, write it.
There are some
So,
things. that-
Estefania, why don't you said you have a personal question? I mean, go for it. Maybe you ask your first question.
Okay. Let's start because I think it's maybe it's a late concern also around all what's happening in the world. It's about community and relationships and people. We're talking about people and how to be connect. So my questions were around how you met, for example, the other ladies that were leading the revival, like Randa and
Yeah. Can I say a
Like-
first thing, just like
Yes.
and then I'll pass it to you, Sarah, for
Sure.
more detail. But I think the first thing that comes to mind is already the fact that the world is a different place and the relationships are different in today's world as it was, ages ago. I mean, just keeping in touch. Like today, I'm saying the obvious, but we have social networks, we have emails, we have cell phones. I mean, even because in the 70s and 80s, I mean, we didn't have emails yet, really. We didn't have cell phones. So gathering at festivals took on also maybe even more, importance. And because that's when you saw each other, really. I mean, I'm talking for myself. So that's I feel like the setting already is like it was a different time. So I think, yeah, relationships were different. Anyway, but that was not your specific question. How did you, Sarah, meet like the other pioneering ladies? And that was the...
Well, when I started tapping seriously, not that I didn't tap seriously, but when there was occasions when we started, I always taught. I taught a lot, and I was basically in the beginning at the time, we did more teaching than performing, and so I thought that was, I personally thought, I love teaching. I love teaching, I still do. But I felt that not everybody was doing a show, we were teaching and then there was the end of the year show or somebody else's end of the year show. And I just felt like when I started really dancing for myself with the musicians, I went to a jazz club because that's what I like to do. So I went to a jazz club not too far away from where I live. I went and listened to the jazz once or twice to feel the place. And I felt there were good musicians there. You see, that's important to me. I just don't want to, hey, will someone accompany me? No, I want a good musician. Okay? Because if you're a good musician, I'm a great tap dancer. If you're not a good musician, I have to take care of you, which makes me take care of you instead of thinking of what I need to do. And I've been through that stage too, in the beginning when, trios and bands and then the drummer playing louder than you, all this stuff. But it was learning, it was beginning. It was the beginning for me in Paris, tap dancing in the club. They always say, oh, in Paris there's lots of, There wasn't. There wasn't any more than maybe in New York or somewhere else. You had to make it happen. So I said, I've got to make this happen. Because I did a lot of shows with all my students and in the American Center and this, but something was missing. So I went to a small jazz club where I used to go to listen to the music. And I said to the guy, I think I'd like to come here and dance. And like he looked at me and said, you come here and dance? Like, I said, tap dancing. He said, French guy, huh? That's different. And he said, okay. You know, he had, and I realized when I went to many different clubs, and I realized that even the club people everywhere, New York, Chicago, didn't know that much about tap dancers. They thought they did. Oh, we're going to have a show. They didn't know you needed good floor. They didn't know you needed good sound. They didn't know. So you teach them. So that's what I decided to do. I said, if I want to really dance in the club, then I'm going to teach you how, you know, in a friendly manner. So what I did first was, I'm talking about many things at the same time. Be patient because it'll all come together, okay? I decided to, with my husband Peter, I said, I need to make a tap floor. I need to make a portable piece of wood that I can carry, because no matter which club you went to, you never got a good floor. I mean, they would say, yes, come and tap dance. And there was rug on the floor. There was a carpet. You mean you don't need the carpet? So nobody really knew that much. They loved tap dancing. They saw the films. They loved it. Anyway, so I went to this one particular club, and he was very, very interested. And he said, yes, okay. And I took my floor, my wooden planks, which we put together, and I went with a trio of the best musicians I knew: bass player, piano player, drums. I started like that, okay? And boom, went into the club, put my floor down and started dancing. And it was a club, so people came into the club and people were talking, and I would have to say, can you hear me? So that they would stop talking, you know? So all I'm trying to say is it was introducing jazz tap dancing to the audiences. They didn't know anything about it. They all said, oh, we tap dancing. Oh, really, you know? So that was a fantastic teaching process for me. I loved that because I made friends with the musicians. I made friends with the owners of the club. Because even sometimes in New York, Chicago, when I visited a jazz club and somebody's tap dancing and it's like, you know, it's not just that. You want it to be a total good sound, because they'll put any sound for you, you know, they don't know. Anyway, so all this is to say what? Say that's how I really got interested in it and started. Besides teaching, I went directly to a club, made friends with the owner and said, I'd like to do a show here. And he asked many questions, and we don't pay much money. I said, I'd just like to do a show here. You know, I'd bring my own floor. And I did. And people loved it. They just loved it. They had never seen that. They know Fred Astaire, they know that, but they never saw this.
And that's how I began.
Peter. I can't talk and listen to you. Peter's trying to help me not to forget to say certain things. It's okay. I'll say what I can. So ask me questions. I don't know. That's enough for the moment. Your turn.
Leela.
You had similar situations.
No, how did you start?
No, but she was. What were you were asking about relationships and how 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 you first met the other lady
The other
pioneers, and how
ladies, yes,
and
yes.
how and also I guess how we maintained relationships. I guess you were asking that, Estefanía, right? Throughout the
Yes,
years. And
Well,
but
yeah, okay. It was not that simple. I lived in Paris and I moved to Chicago. So I explored the Chicago jazz club scene. I met a few of the dancers there. I didn't know everybody. I visited New York. I saw Brenda Buffalino and some of the other dancers. And I think it's basically it's not through dancing in a club that I met the other dancers. It's basically doing big workshops,
and the festivals too,
and
no?
that in the festivals, when the festival started, and that's where we met. So the festival people said, "Oh, we want like at least 3 ladies and 2 men," whatever they did. And sometimes they didn't know, so they would, like, if someone asked me, "Do we want to do a show in Chicago?" They asked me. I said, "Yes, we have." There are people in New York. I gave a few names. There are people here in Texas, whoever I knew that could do a jazz club. Teaching is another story. And that's like basically how it started, and talking and meeting other dancers. Basically, I met more musicians than dancers, because a lot of musicians would come to listen to the music and watch the jazz tap dancing and say, "Wow, this is wild," And I loved that. I mean, it took the dancers a lot more time to get off their, "Oh, well, let's go watch something." It took them a while to support the dancer. Because for a while in Paris, the only people who did shows were like teachers who were teaching and had a whole student body and did a big kind of musical comedy in a club, not in a club, in a stadium, rented stuff like that. So here I come along, this woman from Chicago, America, and I'm living in Paris, and I go to one of the nicest jazz clubs. And what I did first was I knew some of the musicians, you see. That's remember I spoke one of the drummers who was playing, "Hey, how are you?" "Fine, fine." And he looked at me and he said, "You want to come up and dance?" So I said, somebody had to, I was not included in that, but that's how it first started. But I realized that when I jumped up on stage happy, there was no wood, so all these things you learn. So then the guys, "Oh, there's no wood," and somebody brings a small piece of wood and you do it on that wood.
You even danced on a wooden, that was not in the club though, at a radio station. You even danced on a,
Oh my goodness! I did
a door.
I did
Show up for a radio show,
come
and
to do a radio interview for TAP and everything, and I went, and it was a jazz station, and we're talking, and they said, "Oh, can you show us something?" I said, "Of course." And I looked down, it's all rug. I said, wood. And they said, and I said, "Take the door down." Because we're on live radio, so they took the door down and I danced on the door.
It's crazy to think that they wouldn't even, I mean, it's a long time ago, but that they didn't even think about it.
They didn't know that. They just thought, "Oh, you'll come and dance." But then you can't see me, so what's the point? But that's a learning process for them.
It's interesting.
And they loved it so much that next time they had a huge floor. I mean,
Yeah. So
I think it's a thing lately too. Like there's a lot of studios with Marley.
I know.
Oh.
No, I know.
So it's not carpet, but I think we didn't move on that.
Yes, I know.
Well, and the problem is, and when they do have beautiful wooden floors, I mean, not everywhere, but a lot of times it's like, no flamenco, no tap.
Yeah. Can you take your shoes off and dance? Are you crazy? Yes, we've all been through that. So take your shoes off.
So to bring your own floor, even though it's beautiful wood floor.
That's what I did in the beginning.
Yeah.
And Peter helped me. We took the floor, put it down, boom.
We still have it, huh?
And I still have it. And it's a beautiful little floor. And we put it together. for different spaces, smaller spaces, little bigger spaces. This I'm saying for anyone listening, interested in how to go beyond their school and want to dance somewhere. Think about making your own floor. You don't have to make it huge. Now everything is possible. Put 2 or 3 pieces together. You have a floor.
Yeah.
I watch a video past days. I think Leela posted a video of a shows that you did. I don't remember where. And there's like a scene that you're building the floor.
Oh, it's not a it was the documentary at the Hermitage. And it's
Yeah.
the
What
beginning
was
of the
that?
documentary. I'm pushing together the wood or something. Yeah.
Peter is doing.
Oh, yes, Peter was
Yeah.
putting the floor down. Poor Peter.
But it was like a kind of a puzzle. It was like so interesting.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
a puzzle.
Yes. It
I was
fits
like,
together.
oh, that's really interesting.
Well, you have to, you can't carry a huge floor anywhere. Even a taxi won't take you. So you make it, So we decided to make, I can't remember what size, but size that
it's
fit
like
together.
5 meters, 4 meters,
Yeah.
4 over.
Right now, I think there's a thing, people is dancing and it's carrying the floor because they're dancing one by one. But if you try to put a show, you need to bring the whole floor, not like a 1 meter for yourself. I think it's like really different.
I think it's a different subject, but I think at some point when you start doing shows, like you have to also, and you start having a real affiche technique, and when you're in a certain theaters and stuff, then you have to kind of impose as much as you can that's part of your instrument, that's part of the show, and it's part of affiche technique, and affiche technique is contractual. So, but of course it's easy to say, but that's
I'd
we
like
have to
to
fight
add,
for that.
I'd like to add to that, Leela, to all the people, maybe all the people listening and wanting to do this. If you want to do a show, and you should, it's not even a show. I wouldn't call it you want to perform, you want to tap dance somewhere, okay? A show is something else. You want to even tap dance. You want to go and tap dance. You can't just go and expect them to have a floor if you haven't gone already to see. So the first thing you do is go to a place where you want to dance, in a club or a theater. Do you have a good floor? Yes, we have a floor. Can I see it? Because they have beautiful floors. You put 1 foot and you go sliding.
Well, that's for sure.
Been there.
Not just that, it's a lot of places that invites tap dancers and has wood floors and stuff like this. But when you come, they say, "Oh no, you cannot make scratches on the floor."
Yes.
We just painted it.
To wipe it up, It's like that's why all that stuff. I said I'm building a little floor. So I built a little floor. We still have it, and I've danced in the smallest places to quite large spaces, and it's good sound. Voila. And it's not that difficult to do, just go to somebody who can help you cut the wood and put it together, and just do it, So, voila.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you one more thing to finish that story. I was called to do a radio interview, a program, and that's what I was telling you about just before. And they said, dance.
We said, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So if you don't want to dance on a door, you better take your floor.
It rhymes. If
I
you don't want
know.
to dance on the door, you better take your floor.
Take your floor, baby.
That's a quote. For example, in Barcelona, we're lucky. The theater that we are performing, all the companies, we can dance in the floor of the theater.
Oh, good.
It's gone. Like it was black in the beginning. Right now, it's not black. But the guy was like, I don't care. Like I love you guys here. Yay.
Fantastic.
But even that, what we said, if you like, the instrument is both parts. It's the tap shoe, it's the dancer, and it's the floor. So if you don't control the floor, the quality of the sound that will come out of it, it will not be the one that you're deciding. So better if you can have your own floor. It's part of the whole thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, you check, well, everybody knows that, but sometimes it happens. Check your taps just before you go, even if you tighten them at home. Sometimes you arrive, I've been there for a show and boink, the tap went flying. You know what? How did that happen? So I should have looked just before I went. Now I do,
Yeah.
So everybody out there who wants to go dance, check your taps, screw the screws in well. See that your screws are not out of link, out of sync, file them down if you have to, because once you scrape somebody's floor, you're never going back there again. You might, but if it's up to them, they will never ask you to go, no, you scrape the floor. No, I don't.
Hannah
Just tips
Hannah
for
is
taps.
commenting around this.
Oh. So what else?
Yeah.
Hannah is saying, I'm really struggling to find space to run my classes because of floor situation. It's so frustrating. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone has the same issues for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed much when it comes to knitting a wooden floor. Annette. Hello, Annette.
Annette's from London.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how we arrived here talking about relationships.
Well,
But for example, Leela, the people that was with you in the room learning, like you're in touch right now, for example?
well, some of them, yeah, for sure. I mean, Josh. I mean, when I think back to the first festivals, I was Josh Hilberman. We were in the same classes, and there's that famous photo. I wish I had it to show you where we were faking a 5-tap wing, whatever. We have our memories. Josh, I mean, Drika Overton as well, who's in
Yes.
in Kittery, Maine. She was around at the beginning too. I mean, we kept in touch from a distance, but I saw her recently, like 2 years ago, when you went to do a show in that with her. So I mean, but I don't know. Then I guess even people like Thomas Marek, who were
A lot of people have
Kurt, Klaus.
Klaus.
I'm trying to think of the first festivals. Catherine Kramer.
Yes, they were always there. Always there.
Yeah. Jeannie. I mean, so many people. So some I feel like we're in touch because we're part of the same community, and with the social networks, you feel that you're in touch because you see people's photos. But in actuality, do we keep in touch is a different story. I do keep in touch a lot with Josh because we've been on projects together and things.
I know when we went to Chicago, Peter went for work and I started teaching there. In the beginning, I was not very well accepted because there were other tap teachers in the city who had big studios and for some reason felt threatened by a tap dancer coming in, setting up a class. All that is the past, Everyone, you can't just, here I am, I've come to live in Chicago and I'm a tap dancer and I teach tap and I'm gonna teach it somewhere, Never step on anybody's toes. I'm not gonna say, well, here I am, I need to rent a studio, and I go and rent a studio, pay the money. So sometimes this is for all the dancers who are afraid to start or who start and don't get a welcome. It's okay. You have to do your thing. You do it. Maybe you don't go to the same dance studio and have your class at the same time as the other class. I don't know. That's like nonsense. But everybody has to teach. Everybody has to learn. And I'm just saying this because it has happened to several people who were not very well welcomed when they first arrived. So just do your thing because you have to do it and you love it, and that's where it's at. So.
But yeah.
So I love teaching in Chicago. I love teaching in New York. What? Who?
Leela, you're
No, you're talking about the people we were still connected with from
Yeah, Leela's
the
frozen.
first festivals. Oh, I'm frozen?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I can hear the voice, but your face is moving differently to the voice. Doesn't matter.
Okay. No, Estefania was asking about the people that we are still in touch with from like the
From the
first
beginning.
festivals. I mean, I was talking about
Yeah.
the on the student side, the people that I'm still kind of in touch with. And I mean, that's a different story. Anyway, next question.
Next question, yes.
Okay.
Well, to finish that chapter, I'm still in touch with certain people, and certain people, no, everyone goes their way, or I don't know, and I've been all over. So I've stayed in Chicago for a while, I stayed in New York for a while, and Paris now, and so voila. But we all still tap and tap, and now there's Facebook, isn't there?
Yeah.
So show your face now
But
and
you know
then.
what? To go a little deeper, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
thinking still of your question, Estefania. I think, I mean, it's different for everyone, but I guess for me, you keep in touch and develop relationships with different people because, well, of course, because you have affinities, obviously, human, artistic, and also in my case, because we did projects. I mean, Thomas, for example, in Marek in Hamburg, when I think he got grants and stuff to put shows together where he managed to bring, different people together. So it's also by, I guess, trying to create shows when you can, or opportunities to get together. I mean, I know in Paris I did a few times. I just on auto production, like, okay, rent a place, the Studio de l'Ermitage, or do a Paris Tap reunion. There's a few ones. It was with Travis and Tanya that were in town, and this one and that one. So it's like, it's also, we are the type of people who I'm not having trouble with my words in English tonight, but who are like entrepreneurs, who produce to keep things going, and in that way you keep relationships going too with the people you want to keep dancing with.
Yes.
Anyway, that's another way too. Not necessarily the easy way, but it's to initiate things so that things happen and you keep in touch and you keep
I think for people
sharing dance.
Starting now who ask these questions, I mean, if you really want to dance and need to dance, you got to go rent a place and dance. You got to go to studios and say, look, I can do this here, I can do this. Go to maybe a small club if you're interested in that kind of dancing, but you can't go to the club and say, I want to dance here. You have to know all about music and jazz and what else you have to explain, because everybody is not willing at all to have tap dances. They say, oh, it's great afterwards when they hear and see you, but oh, no, not here, not this floor, or not, or been through that too. Went to many clubs. Oh, no, not here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So then what happens in that case is what I did. I just rented a place and I did it myself.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel that keeping in touch with the people that you guys have been keeping in touch with in the community, how has that been through this pandemic?
I kind of missed the beginning of the question.
Sorry.
No,
I'll
it's
try
okay.
again. We're talking about keeping in touch with people, right? Because of work, you said, and all these things. But right now that people don't travel necessarily for work or put up shows because it's not possible, how are you keeping in touch with the people you want to keep in touch with in the community?
Facebook.
Yeah, FaceTime, Facebook. I mean, there's so many
Whatever is
ways.
available.
House party,
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
You feel you're managing to keep in touch
Zoom.
with the people you want to?
I don't know.
Hard
Yes and
question,
no, I
right?
don't know.
Well,
I
it
mean,
depends. No,
yeah.
if it's to do with producing a show or something, that's another story. If it's just friendships, that you keep hopefully forever. And whether the person is in competition with you or not, that's not the point. If you like somebody, I like you, we'll keep in touch. And we will.
Well, yeah. Like, sorry to bring it back to me, but with our current show, À l'Unisson, my hip tap project show, it's really not a COVID show because it's only for performers, but one is in Tenerife in Spain, one is in Germany, and I'm in Paris, and Ludo is in the north of France. Anyway, just to say, so it's like keeping in touch even with colleagues is hard at the moment. So, but we've been trying, keep in touch. But it's hard to keep in touch when there's, as you said, Mom, when it's a friendship, then you just keep in touch, whether it's COVID or not, you're keeping in touch. But on a professional level, when there's no
That's hard.
visibility and projection, we don't know what
That's
to,
hard. Yeah.
it's hard to keep in touch. Just sorry, a random question because I see it here from Annette.
Annette Walker?
Yeah, is asking if we knew, either you or me, know Tobias Tack. I know the name, but I don't think I ever met Tobias Tack. You, Mom, I don't know.
I think so. The name sounds familiar to me. Tobias Tack?
Tobias Tack. He's in England, but was German, or
No.
maybe you can help. I don't know if
sounds familiar, but
Tobias Tack. No, I do remember. I know the name, but I can't quite.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Annette.
So what?
Around, for example, the festivals, because they start in the 80s, and we still have festivals, and I think you've been through all of them. Do you think that they changed? Like the motivation to bring a festival and in the 80s, and the motivation right now is the same, and you feel like the vibe is different, or is the same, we're keeping it?
No, I think you can't be too naive about the situation. And I'm saying not naive because it costs money. At one point, everybody was very excited about this great tap dancing, and there were two people and one person and a little trio. And then it got bigger, and more people were dancing everywhere in shows and everything like that. But it's tough. It's tough.
But
I don't have a studio there where I'm teaching.
But
I'm in my house. I have my own thing, my own floor. If somebody invites me, I go. It's not easy,
But
and a lot of people started dancing and teaching, and sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not, And but if you love what you do, you just keep doing, whether you teach or you don't teach or anything. But you have to go look. You have to. I'm sorry, Leela.
Sarah, yeah, sorry, I'm keeping you back on track because it's a different subject. Because for example, because you're asking about the festivals and how they've changed or not.
Yes.
I have never been to Stockholm, for example, and I feel like that's the festival nowadays that kind of represents the new festivals. So I can't really personally compare from back then to nowadays. I've been to Tap City and I think it definitely depends on which festivals, because like the festival in Düsseldorf, Tap Dance Days, that's been going on for 20 years. I mean, that's a very special festival that's maintained the same vibe for whether it was in 96 or 2006 or even now. Tap City, I feel, is like, I love Tap City, but from the first time I went, which was like 2001 to the last time, 2015, it felt more and more like, because there's maybe more and more people dancing and so many teachers, and there's a lot going on, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's just.
That's New York,
Yeah,
boom, boom,
exactly.
and
That's why it also depends
theater
where.
and shows and, yeah.
Exactly. But
But Tony Bug with Tap City did fantastic.
No, of course, but
job.
I'm just trying to
Still is.
compare in the the vibe is. She's asking about like have the festival changed? I think basically you can compare, but like between the first festivals of the Tap Renaissance when you had all the masters still around and teaching, and these masters are all over 65, 70 years old, is not the same thing as today when you have masters teaching that are 35 years old. I mean, it's just a different vibe. How can you compare? I'm sorry, but so in that
But
way,
like,
I feel like it's different.
yeah.
Well,
I know I'm
that,
opening another door, but
yeah, but that's normal. That was the beginning of
yeah.
this whole thing, So those who had more experience taught and danced,
No,
and
but that was
that
amazing.
was the beginning,
That's what
And
I mean.
then,
Yeah.
but
Also, one
it's
thing.
still going on, so that's not bad. We just got to keep it
Yeah.
going, It's not
I
easy.
don't know. I'm gonna say one last thing just to say it.
Yes, absolutely.
No, it's a slightly different subject, but maybe it kind of touches to the same thing. I just feel when I say about it wasn't a question of age. I'm not talking about. I just feel like what I have a lot of nostalgia for, but maybe it's because I was a teenager and that is just the fact that I don't want to say back in the day all the time as if it was like Eden, but like just that all the teachers were so unique, so they each had their story. I mean, I know it's true today too, but it was really like you put all of these people on stage and it was like, wow, such a variety of souls in both senses, feet and body, and not that it's not the same today, because of course everyone is, but there's I guess on the tap, just a purely dance level, tap level, I feel like today there's a little bit more of everyone kind of doing the same kind of, like finding your own style seems like a difficult thing today. Anyway.
But who
maybe
were
I'll
the
shut up
people
now.
who
It's a
went
different
to?
subject, but
But it's a really interesting one. I'm like, I don't know.
Who were the people who went to the tap festivals back in the days? Because nowadays we see, for instance, quite a difference between the festivals in Europe and the festivals in the States. Because in the States, the majority is under 20 years old who goes to
Right.
festivals and takes classes. In Europe, we have a much
true.
older audience.
True. That's
Has
true.
that changed?
Oh, that I don't know. No, I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know if you think back, Sarah, in like in the say the early festivals, as a old teenager, because I say teenager, but I was like already 16, 17. I was not the youngest, but one of the youngest. So I think at the time the students were not under. I mean, they were maybe in their 20s, 30s. I think it was very wide range, no? Because everyone was,
Well, when the whole tap
I don't know.
scene started again, with like bringing old teachers and Steve Condos and everybody, and the first big, you came.
Yeah.
And in, where was this? In
Portland,
and Colorado.
St. Louis.
And that was special because, well, it was also the beginning. These people always danced in their corners, and now they were brought to the big stage and to the big lot of people dancing and students. Very exciting. But that's what kept it going at that time. Now you guys shouldn't just say, well, it's not happen. Make it happen. Make it happen. You're all great dancers. I'm old. I make it happen for a while. I'm not gonna make it happen again. I want to see you guys make it happen. It's as simple as that, and it's not easy because also times change, and people change. So, but everybody still loves a good tap dancer.
Peter.
Always. Yeah, Peter. You can come into the screen, we hear you.
They do.
Musical tap dance.
Yeah. So
No, I don't know. I mean, to come back to the festival thing
Yes.
too, I think, I don't know because I haven't been to all of them. So I hate making big generalizations about things when it's, it's obviously different everywhere. But there's a lot more festivals, so that's exciting. So that's different too. I mean, there's more people tap dancing. So of course the vibe's going to be, developing and growing.
keep going, yeah, and that's important.
And I think at the end of the day, again, it's like I know it's hard to produce, but you know, it's the more people produce, the better, or help the people who are producing, you know, like, 'cause that's all will develop
Yeah.
the form.
Well,
but anyway,
it's like
Yeah.
following your, you know, your pulse rate on a it just depends on everything.
yeah, it's
The
true.
time, it's easier sometimes. Sometimes certain cities are still just exploding with new tap, like, oh my God, we're tap dancing, you know, so
I have another thing
Yeah.
to say. Can I say another thing?
Go ahead.
as an
Um,
observer, someone wants to say
Ah.
something about festivals.
Wait, Peter, can you hold your thought?
Hold your thought.
Can I interrupt you first? Me
Hold it,
first, me
hold it.
first. No, because I'm going to forget. Hold your thought, really. No, I was just going to say another thing. I know it's going to sound old school, new school, but I think another thing that really has changed
I
in
can't hear
general.
you.
In general, I think something that has really changed, be it in the tap festival world or any festival or any teaching or whatever, just between, but I think it makes a difference in the vibe, is also all this technology we have again, that I'm all for. I love it. This is how we're able to have this talk right now. But, you know, in this sort of, we live in this world where everything is so immediate. You take a class, you film it, you film the choreography. Like we're in this, you know, communication mode, consumption mode, consuming classes, consuming stuff. The more the teachers, and again, back in the day, I remember that, like, and I say this to students all the time because I know it makes me sound old, but I believe it, like, we couldn't film. We didn't even have cameras, so you would take a class, and you would work your butt off after class if you wanted to remember what you learned.
Exactly.
End of story. And whatever, it doesn't make us better or worse or whatever. It's just all that, you know, these little things, I feel like just make it different today than it was back then. And that permeates also the tap festival world. It's a
But that also-
generality, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, from experience.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Oh,
Having
sorry.
been through all
Sorry,
this
Iselin.
and gone to all these festivals, the fact that, just as you said, in the early festivals in Portland and Colorado, there weren't that many teachers. I mean, there were maybe 6, 7 teachers, that's all, maybe. Because half of them were masters. And there was more time. There was more time, as you said. You'd go to a class, and then you'd go and think about what you learned and repeat it. But going to all the festivals recently, in the last 10 years, with Sarah, as she's teaching her classes, I kind of mosey around and peek into all the other teachers' classes to see how it's going. And I see the same students going from class to class to class, just consuming and trying with their iPhones, videoing things, and it's like overkill. There's just so much information. And it's a generational thing, because today, not only young people, even middle-aged people and old people, we just inundated with so much information, and we go 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and that's it. That's all we're interested in. To watch a 2.5-hour movie is a big deal. I mean, it's a major commitment. To say I'm going to watch a movie for 2.5 hours. Right now, I'm thinking, like, if we're going to watch a movie and it's going to be a good movie, why can't they do it in half an hour or an hour so I can move on and do something else? And it is frantic when you go to Stockholm. I mean, it's frantic. People running around from room to room and from teacher to teacher. And the teachers, of course, are all different. And they all have their own styles. And there's some with a lot of noise, some a little more subtle. I don't know how students, I don't know what students take away from these classes, frankly. Anyway.
Well, yeah.
I personally don't like filming that much in classes when I've been to Stockholm and stuff, but that's also because when you start filming, you remove the interaction between the students, because if you don't film, you will be standing outside the studio after class and rehearsing with the other people who were in class, and you create human relationships. If you film, you just walk away. So in these new festivals, it's tons of people who always films, and I never ever speak to them. I just see them. because there's no approach.
It's true. It's a good
to
point.
actually
No
talking about
interaction.
the class or doing these things that should be done. I mean, some of my best memories from Stockholm is when a group didn't film and we're standing in the hallway trying to figure this thing out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, completely.
Well, then first of all, you relive it, and as you say, you're exchanging with people.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that still exists here and there.
Of course. And again, I don't want it to sound like, everything was wonderful and back in the days. It's not that. But it's also seeing how things evolve.
Yeah, but it's our responsibility to actually try and promote that kind of behavior in class.
Sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For
Because
sure.
I
find
notice,
again,
I notice that
go
people
ahead.
do come to a stage, how do you say stage?
Workshop.
A workshop, a big workshop, and they film. So they film it, so they got it. And I don't allow that in my class. It's no, I'm sorry, you dance and take it away in your mind and your body, not on film. Because already you take it away differently. This, you just go home and you look at 10 different things you've taped. Well, you know what?
And I'm not even sure we look at it at the end of the day. Like you have so much
Yeah.
stuff on your computer.
Yeah.
And we all do like photos and this. And you don't even really.
I just
Not
found
sure you
that,
really look at
I'm a different story, but I hated to learn by heart. I hated that. I take a class,
Yes, let's
find
talk
the
about
teacher,
that.
no, it's like you
joking.
listen to the teacher, they gave you like, I know, because I teach also, and I hope that people are not just taking away the little dance I put maybe sometimes at the end to connect the steps. That's why I don't make dances like immediately. We're going to do little phrases. It's like making a song. Give them the whole song. No, hey, try this part. And do that 10 times. Then maybe you'll get the second one. And then whatever you want to add to that, and that's how I like to work.
Yeah.
So
That's what makes you. You're also teaching. It's a different subject, but you,
Yeah.
Sarah, when you teach, you're teaching more than just steps, and you're teaching so much more. But that's again another subject. But
another subject.
But it's interesting, though, because it talks about teaching in general and what, because everyone's a teacher today. That's, again, another subject. But I'm saying that because I know with body percussion, it's even more so something we talk about, and it's an issue because it's a form that's so accessible that people take a few workshops and our teachers, so whatever. So it reminds me a little bit, it's very different, of course, than the story with tap dancing, but that whole idea of just appropriating stuff to teach it. I don't know, it's like to teach, you have to have lived a little bit and, have something to say and give and exchange. Otherwise, you're just teaching steps, which is, anyway, sorry.
A lot of people do. So.
Which is fine too, but whatever. Anyway.
That's an interesting topic.
That's a whole 20 days.
I know, I'm like,
conversation. Oh, la la. But all is good.
Yeah, one of my, I think I will open a door, but it's like just, it's there and I will close it. Yeah. It's like, okay, we want to have a live around tap dancing. So you need to figure it out. One of the ways is start teaching. So I don't know why right now we have teachers from 20 years old.
From what?
Or 20
years old,
teacher.
like 20-year-old teachers.
Or
young, you mean young teachers?
Yes, or choreographers. Like people say like, I'm a choreographer and it's 20 years old. And it's like,
oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and it's like, they're doing something wrong? No, but...
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's a subject too, Estefanía, because I was going to say,
that's very important subject.
But at the same time, if I think back to myself, the first time I was like in my early 20s when I taught was I wrong? Like, was I not allowed? Like today, I might feel like, wow, that's really young. Like, but when I was 20, I did teach some classes, and I didn't feel that I was in my place. So I don't know. Effectively, it's
Don't you think that all depends on the circumstances and the community around you?
of course.
Because I mean, if you're in a place where you're the only one with that knowledge, for instance,
Yes, exactly.
you should
That too,
teach.
Of course.
It's all relative, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no rules, yeah, for sure.
But of course, if it's like 20 masters already in your city and you're 20 years old, then maybe not.
Yeah.
It's true.
And even so, I mean, when you think about if you think about it, it's like there's something for everyone, and a 20-year-old teacher might be the right type of teacher for certain people. You know what I mean? So I find it hard now to say, well, this is right or wrong, and you're supposed to have done this before that. I don't know, like, who is to say, really?
Also, for example, in the movie Tab, like we see Savion teaching the ladies and the guy. So putting somebody that is more close to your own age, maybe you will be involved on that thing.
Sorry, I didn't hear a word. It was all metallic.
But it's my thought.
Say it again, babe.
Yeah,
Again?
Yes.
Yeah, take it just a bit to the side and say it again.
Again? What's going on with this? I didn't touch anything.
No, I can hear you.
I didn't, yeah.
Okay, so I was talking about the movie Tab.
Yes.
That we see Savion teaching the young ladies and the boy. So also putting the teacher with the same age or around the same age of the people that is learning can be a motivation too. If they find the teacher is like really different, like a 60-year-old and you have a 10-year-old kid.
For sure.
It's like, so I think there's nothing wrong. I think it's depending. We were talking about the audience. Like you need to know which is your audience.
I think to add to that, Savion was a star, is a star, was a great dancer from little. So I mean, he could do something like that. He has been in all different shows and stuff like that. So I mean, he's gone. Savion was very, how do you say that? Taken by the, how do you say that?
He was
Embraced.
taken in hand.
He was, by all the older dancers.
Under their wing,
We
they
know
took
with
him under
Jimmy
their
and all,
wing.
and Savion was the young black guy coming up, and everybody wanted to give him something to take on, That was a special time, and he was a special guy, and that's
Well, in Black and Blue.
in Black and Blue, yeah.
And Gregory was also very caretaking for Savion.
Yes.
And Levy also got.
Someone snap dancing right now.
Yeah, I heard that.
Someone's okay. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. No, it's interesting all that, but you know what? Well, tap dancing is still alive, isn't it, everywhere? And that's really amazing. That's great. No?
Absolutely.
It still is.
Next
We're having
question.
hard times now with different stuff, but
Well, we have a question here.
Yes,
I will
I
do
was thinking about that too because we're like halfway at least, so maybe we should open up for any type of question. We have one from Yoshi. Looking back at
Yoshi.
life now, do you find any art or anything that has been important to be a tap dancer? Painting, singing, yoga, cooking, photo, drinking, anything.
Cooking.
Drinking.
no,
All the above?
Eating.
So, what was the question?
Well, I mean,
Yoshi,
I'm
where
going to
are
say
you?
something that's a bit obvious, but I feel like everything makes you and all your experiences, add up, build up. And when I say experiences, I do mean everything you mentioned, Yoshi, cooking, painting. Well, I don't paint, but singing, drinking, food, sharing meals, life experiences, all that makes you you, and therefore enriches your art and, your expression. I mean, sounds a bit artistic to say it that way, but maybe
No,
he
but
means more specifically.
Is it like a hobby or
Rather-
something that maybe has
Yes.
followed you through life that is not tap dancing, but like next to tap dancing?
Well, music for me, for sure, singing, and I don't do it so much at the moment, but at one point I was playing a lot of piano and singing, and it comes back. It's come back around a little bit. And this is going to sound bad, you guys, but photography a little bit too. I'm saying bad because I'm trying to be original, but trying really hard.
what else did you say, Yoshi?
Painting,
There's a
singing,
quote.
yoga. Sarah, you.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, go.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
Who, me?
Who?
I don't know, like reading that question, like the quote of Steve Candace came to my mind. This quote, he said, I'm reading, of course I don't remember. Life becomes a practice, whether it's singing, dancing, acting, speaking, thinking, or just being a better human being. Like practicing life sustain your credibility in dance.
Yeah.
So all of you, I think it's going into what you're showing on stage, or in a class, or whatever, or in a talk.
Well, sorry, I'm going to
Ta-da.
interrupt again, Mom, if you want to say interrupt me, but no, I was going to say again, and it's coming back to the other subject, but I feel like that's what makes someone wonderful to watch on stage, is everything else not besides the dance, but it's not about for me, it's not about the technique, it's not about the wow factor, it's about what the person is giving of themselves and what they're expressing, and all that has to do with their life and what they've been through and their hobbies and other art forms they've that's what I think.
I think there's a lot of people struggling, trying to find a voice inside of tap dancing, inside of the tap community,
Yeah.
and they're only searching inside of technique, inside of the language itself. So I think this question about painting and singing and all what's related to you is what it will come into the stage or into the talk that you're talking with another dancer. That's you. That's your voice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not only the steps.
For me, it was also, again, I'm talking about me, but it was a very simple life lesson. But you know this, Mom, because basically having tapped all my life, the choice of becoming or saying I'm now doing this for professionally was not an easy one to take, because I felt that, I had watched Sarah and Jimmy and mostly them growing up, and it was my mom's story, their passion, like whatever. And I'm saying all that, why I lost the track. No, because it was for me, having taken a step aside through hip hop dancing, through other experiences, that all of a sudden brought me back to tap, because I had found my own voice. It's a very simple,
yes, no,
basic story, but that's what
okay.
you're saying basically. And then of course, I think that's how also you find your voice, is by taking a step to the side, not being afraid to, collaborate, do funky things. I don't know, funky things. I mean, you know, because even Sarah, I'm sorry, I'm talking for you,
Yes.
but you did a lot of at one point, not always, but at one point you were really you did the Feldenkrais training, you did a lot of
did a lot,
yoga,
yeah.
so all these other things. I mean, you're not mentioning it, but all that, I'm sure, nourish your art and have,
All
contributed.
that nourished me.
Yeah, the soul.
The more nourished I got, the more I could give to my art.
Well, yeah,
Also,
exactly.
the more I could receive, you know. I was not interested in tap dancing. I mean, tap dancing.
Yeah.
I always danced. I was born and brought up in India, and spent 18 years there. We always danced. Tap dancing was not the point. We always danced. We did. I'm saying ballroom dancing. We used to jive and swing and dance and do tangos, and we always danced. In every party there was dancing, and when rock and roll came out, we danced. I think like people, it's too much of like, oh well, I just tap. Dance, man, dance.
Yeah, that's another.
Saying, are you tapping? I'm so tired of hearing this. Well, I tap, but are you tap dancing? Hello, are you tap dancing? Tap, tap, tap.
And
tap
yeah.
dancing. You know?
Yeah. You know
To me,
that
that's so important because you're dancing and you have, come on, tap dancers, you know what? Dance and realize that you have this ability to use your feet like instruments to help your dance. And don't learn things by heart. Try out something. You have toes, you have heels. So what is a toe? Ti-ti-ti. What's a heel? Ta-ta-ta. You know that. It's like playing a drum. Ti-ta, ti-ta. Ta-ti-ta, ti. Ti-ti-ti-ti. Ta-ta. I could say toe, 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 toe. Heel, heel. You know what? Learn your, get together with what you're doing. Unless you want to just learn, which is also wonderful if you want to go to, to do big shows and you need to learn how to dance on a big stage and stuff like that. That's very important. You have to know that. I'm talking about all of you and us and everybody who just love tap dancing. Tap dance. Even without shoes, you can tap dance. Take your shoes off. Put on just normal shoes. That's why I do soft shoe all the time. Because I'm not making ding, ding, dang, dang. I'm saying, but I'm feeling the lightness of the toe. I'm feeling my instruments. And what you gotta do, all you tap dancers, all of you teachers, dancers, if you are playing an instrument and you had to sit at a drum or whatever, you'd be still using this and this. Tita, ta ta ta, tita. That's how we used to play drums anywhere in India. Tita, tita, tita. Except your feet are doing it. You know what? Try doing some of these with your hands, and then like even teach it that way. Teach it that way. Ti ti ti, ta ta ta. Not that it's ti ti ti. It could be anything. It's just treble, a little more treble, because that's what your toe is doing. It's light. It's giving you a chance to be light. But everybody comes in and goes, what? You got it.
there's
Put the music and the nuance. We have the chance to have toes and heels. Why is everybody banging their feet?
okay.
You can do toes and heels. Wow, and now and then you can put in a click and a titty-tum-punk and a full foot, a stamp. It's not always a stomp. Listen to me. Tira, tira, titi, cha, ti-cha. And everybody comes, if I tell somebody to do that, they'll say, down, down, down. No. Cha, 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 titi. Really? I mean, those are the sounds we can produce, So learn them, do them, master them, and you can play all kinds of tunes and rhythms, like a drummer. Think you're playing brushes. How do you play brushes with tap dancers? Tang, tang, tang. No. How do you go to a bass? Dum, 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 dum. Now, how are you going to do dum, 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 dum? Heels. The way you put your heel down. You want to say, listen, can you hear this? Da da. What are you hearing? Da da. Dee, dee. No.
Yeah.
Because everyone puts on
Ouch.
tap shoes and bangs their feet. And they learn dances so they can bang their feet and move around.
Wow.
I'm talking about if you really want to do creative jazz tap dancing, wow. Dig it. Those are your instruments, your toes and your heels. And flat foot. Not dang, dang, ding, ding, dang, dang. What is that? That's bullshit. Sorry. Tita, tita.
Okay.
We're four of us, okay? We're
No,
four
no,
of
no,
us now.
wait, there's
No,
questions.
don't go away.
Yes, we have questions. So Annette
Yeah.
is asking, what people outside of tap dance and jazz inspires you?
Hello, I see you
What
down
people
there.
outside of tap and jazz? So many people.
You start.
Yeah, say one
Okay.
tops two.
One or two.
Yeah.
Well, I can't
I
say
don't know,
one
I
or
saw
two.
her
I could
face
say
and she
something much wider, but for me, it's so many people. It's music. So many styles of music from around the world are really an inspiration, and it's outside of jazz. A lot of music from Mali, and different parts of the world. I won't make a whole list. That's one of the things. Your turn, Sarah. I'm trying to think what what people outside of tap and jazz. And so many people, gosh.
You answer.
Even sometimes, Nelson Mandela, there's so many people that are inspiring outside of tap
Oh,
and jazz.
yeah. Of course.
I can't make a whole list, but
No, of course. Of course.
in the music
course.
and theater and in politics and
And you can put all these in. What's lovely about tap, like when you're dancing, and it's like you can put all these things in there. You can learn your instruments. Don't just hit your feet and make up steps. Learn them. How can you put them down? And then you can also dance. It's not tap, it's tap dance.
yeah.
Because your whole body is working. You can say step, 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 step. You can hit your butt and make a pop sound. Your whole body is in the dance. What can I tell you? That's the fun. And then you have the shoes that can give you more sound. The shoes can give you more sound. Don't just bang them.
Moms, what other people
Sorry.
inspire you outside of the tap and jazz world?
What other people inspire me outside of the tap
and jazz world?
Oh gosh.
I know again there's so many, but cite one or two that were an inspiration.
Inspiration. Oh my goodness. Painters. Painters. Nature inspires me still at this late age of my life. I go outside, I listen to the birds, and they're going, dee, 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 and I'm saying, yeah, dee, dee, dee,
It's like that.
try this, dee, 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 boop, boop, nature is full of music and sounds. It's beautiful. I love picking up wood. Don't ask me why. When I walk in the woods there, all these little pieces of wood, man, I bring them home. And then when I bring them home, I say, let's see how you sound. Back in the wood you go. Anything. What inspires me. People inspire me. Love inspires me. Faith. Faith inspires me. Not religious faith, just faith in human beings. Faith. I believe in you. I believe in you. It's so hard sometimes to believe in anybody with all the bullshit they talk. I believe in you. Wow. That's wonderful. So honesty, like even, come on, Yoshi, I didn't hear your voice yet.
No, but we can't hear them.
Yesterday asked questions, I couldn't reply them.
There's it's not gonna. It's to answer Kate Sambierska's question.
Kate?
She's asking sort of the same thing.
Oh,
Not the same thing, but about experiencing tap with other art forms.
Let's
Sorry,
read
I'm
that.
gonna sneeze.
Yeah, I can read it.
Kate.
So Kate is
Sorry.
asking if
This question.
any of you experienced or have been experimenting with tap and another type of art form or activity,
I
like
can
combining them.
Paint
I
on
can
shoes?
answer
No, not
something
yet.
for.
Oh, it
Wait,
went away.
I'll answer for you, Sarah.
Yes, go ahead.
Quickly. No, because
Why
one
not?
thing comes to mind. It's ages ago, and then I'll say another thing that comes to mind. You did experimentation with
Food?
you were tapping with the Paris Tap Dance Company. I don't think you had tap shoes on. I think you had you did something with a Tai Chi guy,
Tai Chi.
Oh, yes.
and it
I
was
did
like
something with the Tai Chi
a
master.
blend, like movement, visual. We lost Iselin.
Exchanges.
She's back. Iselin.
We everybody disappeared for 1 second. I was like,
No,
We lost you.
me,
You're back.
all of you guys were disappearing for me.
No, it was
No,
you.
no, it was only you, and I was like, ah.
For me, it was the three of you. I was like, oh.
No, we're
Sorry.
back.
Okay, we're
Are
all
we-
good. So let's continue.
Oh, goody.
Move on.
No, anyway, so I
Tai
was
Chi.
saying that experience for Sarah. I mean, that I remember, and for myself, I did. I've been working with Patrice Moulet, who's it's a long story, so I'll make it very short. But he's a crazy, not crazy in a bad way, crazy good way, musician who creates interface sculptures in that are linked to loops of music. People have done this before, but what he does that's super original is already the sculptures are huge and beautiful, and the sounds, he has like 250,000 sounds, little loops of sounds. And for instance, I dance on a triangular, it's sort of like a surfboard with 15 different plates, things that, and when I tap on them, each plate is connected to a loop. But it's not like one thing is a drum and the other thing is it's all the same kind of sounds. So for instance, it's going to be piano arpeggios. So I can play around with different, anyway, it's a crazy project, but that's was a very interesting, super interesting project, because it was so different from tap as we know it, because yes, you're hearing the sound of your feet, but they're triggering it, and it's not like I'm not going kakak and it's triggering kakak, it's going to trigger da 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 da, whatever, like musical things. And then depending on when you stop it, you can also compose, is what I'm saying. Anyway, but I could send you, I don't know how I can send you a link to go see. I can't
Post it.
Okay.
I want to see
I'll
I
that.
want to see that too.
yeah.
I'm looking at these questions. Kate, you
Yes.
asked if, I'm sorry, were you ever experimenting with tap and some other activity at the same
Yes.
time? Like singing and tapping? Singing and tapping, yes, all the time.
Yes, you do that all the time.
Almost all
That's
of the time. Or I don't know, painting with your steps? No, I've never painted with my steps, but I experiment a lot with soft shoe. I find it very fascinating because I find when dancers put on the tap shoes, they feel they need to make that noise. And I think it's a good idea once in a while to put on soft shoes, and let yourself go, because you still have the toe and the heel and the forefoot. And it's not the sound you're making, it is also the touch that you are making sound with, So do
You mean the
things-
physical touch, the
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's different.
I dance a lot in soft shoe. I love soft shoe. Because when you put on the taps and you feel it's like sitting at a piano and not playing on the piano. You're just like, you have to play and make noise. What
know?
if just try it sometimes. Soft shoe, any shoes. Dance. Get your body dancing. Once you're dancing, you can add the taps. It's not just tap. People are just tapping you. Everyone just tapping. What does that mean?
Well, we talked about this already, but it's
Okay,
funny.
I'll talk about it again.
No, but it's funny because
No,
sorry,
because it's
but
called
about
tap dance. So let's
I know,
bring the
Mom.
dance back into.
But when Kate says painting
Sorry.
with your steps, it's interesting because in a way, I remember I think a bass player, Pierre Boussaguet, said that
Yes.
about you once. It's like, oh, when I dance with Sarah, it's like I can see, I can visualize something. Anyway, it's just funny. Of course, she's not painting with her steps, but it's
Yes, that's
it's
what
kind of interesting because it's like
yeah.
you can visualize something. Indeed, amen to that. Amen.
I've seen like contemporary dancers do like painting and dancing on it to make patterns. I wonder how a tap dancer would look like.
I think there's a guy who did that. What's his name? He's in Vegas. Chris Rutledge. I think he did projects with paint. I saw videos
Interesting.
go by on Chris Rutledge. I'm not sure, but I know he did stuff with paint on the floor. So check it out.
Yeah, because tap dancing must look so different than other types of dances.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Any other questions
like
Annette
while
Walker asked.
barefoot paint and
Sorry.
this.
Yes, what?
That's how Estefanía would do it.
Painting?
Yeah.
No, I'm really,
I want to do that, like barefoot and paint, like really painter, and just like stepping around.
yeah.
Is that thing? I want to do that. There's somebody in the room. I want to
I'll
do
buy
that.
you the paint.
Who's stopping you? Just do it.
Okay, I'll do
You're
it.
gonna need many floors, huh?
Yeah.
Once you did it on one floor, it's finished. The floor is gone.
We need to paint the floor of the theater. Maybe I can do it before.
I'm looking at some of these. Tobias was from Holland but lived in London.
That was before,
Tobias,
yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was asking about Tobias, and I do remember he was hot, but he passed away. That's the thing. I think he passed away 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, a year or two ago. I remember hearing about it.
But Yoshi asked a good question. Looking back in your lives now,
We answered him
Yeah,
before
I
already.
know
We did that.
Yeah.
painting.
Any other
back to
questions, you
yoga,
guys
cooking,
out
photo,
there
drinking.
before we?
What?
No, I'm asking the world out there if they have any questions, because it's the last Tap Talk, right? With us, at
Yes.
least.
So bring the
Yes.
So if you have a
questions.
question you've never dared to ask, now's the time.
No more chances. That's the last one.
Well,
No, I'm joking.
Annette Walker, you said what people outside of tap dance and
Yes,
jazz
that's what I was
inspire
We did
you?
that.
Oh.
I think
Yeah, we was-
many yoga gurus inspire me. Yoga guru masters inspire me a lot.
Write the name, please. Oh,
The biggest answer. Kate is asking about the name again.
Christopher, what?
Rutledge.
Rutledge.
I have no clue how that's written.
Spell that.
R-U-T-L-E-D-G-E.
Chris Rutledge. I'm sure you can find. I don't know how you spell it. R-U-T.
She did it.
Rutledge.
Kate,
Well,
love
can't you
both
return
stories.
one day? She'll find it on. Everything's findable. Paint.
Just
Google
paint,
tap
tap,
shoes, Chris.
Las Vegas. Ta-da.
Ta-da! What? Okay. That
Google.
would be fun. So what else? What else can we say? Hannah.
Well, are we
So-
finished? I mean, not that I want to go, but do we have time left? Or I mean,
We have a bit time
This
if
is
it's
our
some
last
extra
5 minutes.
questions.
okay.
Yes. If people has
More
questions, just
And if
Drop
not,
them.
That's totally fine. We
says
look
I'm
forward to
mute.
seeing you in the real world.
I can't
Ciao.
wait for this pandemic to be over so we can start traveling again and tap dancing together
Yes.
and Leela disappeared.
I lost everyone.
I hear you.
No, you know, like,
it's hide and seek.
Yes, we
it was
Cats
so
again.
brutal. I was like, okay, let's see you in the real world. Oh, they're
Now
gone.
I'm next.
Okay.
Or Sarah's next. How's
Oh,
okay?
dear.
No, you're next. Because
Oh.
mine says mute. So I don't know. I'm muted by someone.
No, that's
No.
normal. That's. I think it's normal. We all have that.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Any more questions?
Pandemic over?
I just wanna tap dance with everybody again.
Yeah. Enough talking. Let's dance.
Yes. I miss the dancing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of good talks has been through this pandemic, and I'm so happy to see that people are so engaged in tap dance when they cannot actually dance.
Can we
But-
do a quick experiment? We're 4 people, right?
Mhm.
Right?
Uh-oh.
Here, we're 4 people here. I'm going to start with a rhythm. Pick it up, take it on. Okay? Ta-da-beep-beep-ba, to-do-ba-do-day.
Dip, dip, bean, dee, da.
Da, 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 da.
Okay.
Your turn.
I did it with the hands.
That's
What is
cheating.
it? We're 4 people. Okay, who's starting? Start.
Who starts?
Who are you speaking
You.
to?
I don't know, anybody. Whoever's listening.
I'll start with this.
You start. Who's
I'll
starting?
just keep time. 'Cause
Okay,
I'm sitting on the
It's
couch
fun,
and I...
it's fun to show how it adds on, you know?
somebody in the audience. Write a rhythm.
Come on.
I got the snaps going. A-doom,
That
ding,
doesn't help,
ding,
though.
dong, dong, ding, dong. Dong, dong, ding, dong, dong, ding, dong. Dong,
Who's singing?
dong, ding, dong, dong,
Leela.
ding, dong. Dong. Someone take the break.
Ding dong dong dong
Dong,
dong
ding,
ding
ding.
ding ding dong dong ding 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 dong 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 ding 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 dong dong ding.
Almost synchronized.
Almost synchronized.
It's not
Almost.
synchronized.
I know. If we tried together, we would
Hula
all be like
Yeah.
1 beat off or something like this, I
Yeah.
think.
Darn it.
Yeah, Annette.
And that says D
Thanks,
buddy.
Annette. D-dabba-dee. Woohoo.
Who's that? Annette.
Annette.
Annette. So maybe it's the time to do like maybe a small recap of these 3 sessions that we had.
Sure.
I
Well,
think
first
my
I talked
highlight through
Whoa.
all the 3 episodes has been that Sarah has always pointed out that we need to dance, not just tap. I think that's the biggest highlight.
It's called tap dance, so I don't know why they changed it to tap. Tap is where you open and the water comes out.
True. That's what you get when you Google Translate.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but in Europe where it's called everything else, when you Google Translate, it always comes like tap
I
water.
know.
It's awful.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yes.
all right. I don't know.
Any more
We've been talking
questions?
around a lot of things. We started with all the revival and a lot of things, a lot of details around this thing. That for sure we can go deeper, but I think the deepness of this thing is like call Sarah and or Leela and be at the phone or in person, like for more deepness. But I think we touch like many things around being a producer on the revival that was really important. Building shows, building festivals, building things, moving forward, going to the jazz clubs and like, yeah, I want to tap dance here. So there's like a lot of little things that we said that I think they're gold.
Yes.
I don't know. That's kind of a recap that I can do.
Well,
That's good.
Of course, like there's a lot of things, but
Yeah,
And today we also
bounced
learned that.
around a lot because, I mean, in all humility,
who's talking? Leela?
I am.
Oh.
Is it a bit because I'm having a funky
No,
sound
the
at
screen
moment?
is frozen, but I can hear your voice.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
No, I was just saying we bounced around a lot in the 3 conversations, but already you have two people who have long stories, long careers, who are 2 different people, even though we're mother and daughter. I mean, I know sometimes I speak for Sarah or whatever, but it's 2 different stories. So I mean, I think it was there's a lot of subjects to cover. And I
Yes.
don't think we went very deep into subjects, but it's also normal because I think we're also we have many chords to our arc. I don't know if that's an English expression. In French, we say that when you don't have just one chord, and no, it sounds funny in English. Never mind.
Iselin.
How'd you say
Yeah, I was
that?
like, how do
At
you say
least
that?
one string in your
One string. T'as pas une corde
One
à ton
string
arc.
in
Oh,
your
it's totally
violin.
French. Sorry, I just did
one
a.
string in your guitar or one string in your violin.
Well, meaning you do many things. You're not just a teacher, or just a performer, or just a producer, or just a dancer. Like we both have lots of things. So, anyway, so there was a lot to talk about. Is my point.
Yes.
I would like to just say one more thing, just very frankly. I know I may have said it before, but I'm saying it again. That means it must be important. Don't forget the dance. Don't forget the dance. Everybody's busy doing steps and making sounds. Don't forget the dance. That's all I can tell you, because you make the steps and you dance them, you're a dancer. How can you come into my class and say, well, I don't dance, I want to learn steps? What? And I've had that so many times, because I don't teach steps, I teach differently. So, tap dance. Yeah.
You know? Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I was going to bounce back again on that subject because can I or enough or stop?
You can do anything you want.
No, because I'm just thinking. I amen to what you just said, and that's how I
That's good.
learned, and that's what I believe in. But I think perhaps that when Savion came onto the scene in all his brilliance and virtuosity, that was his style. That's how he
course.
danced. You
And
know, and fortunately, unfortunately, it's not even to say, but I think that from then on, I think a lot of young people became a little bit obsessed with steps.
Well, yeah, because it was great at the
Exactly,
time. Great.
and I think that's what I was saying before. Me, when I was young and I was watching Savion, I was like, oh, it's wow, of course, because he was doing amazing steps, but it was wow because it was unique, because he was doing it and he was the first doing it that way. So, again, we're not to say that it's anyway. So I'm saying what you're saying too, Sarah, about don't forget the dance, but you do decide that you want to be just a foot technician. Okay, you're allowed to also, but in that case, you're not saying, you're a foot technician.
Yeah.
If I could say it that way.
That's
Yes,
really,
of course. That's good too. I mean, that's fine. I mean,
That's
you
all,
can
yeah.
you can
It
play
just-
drums and play drums, and you can have a bass player join you, become something different. You can still
Well,
play drums. And then,
remember Sarah, Michael Silva? I mean, you did
Of
shows with
course.
him. He was a
Yeah.
brilliant drummer.
Yeah.
When he came and did his solo, he was not just doing the most amazing rhythms. He was a performer.
Absolutely.
He would do all this stuff with his face and his arms. And so, again, it's just underlying the fact that, whatever, same difference, basically, same thing.
Yeah. What fun.
Yeah.
What fun.
So, sorry, just to say, Annette told me it's many strings to your bow. That's what I was trying to
Yes,
say.
the strings to your bow.
Thank
Right,
you.
right. Thank you, Annette. Strings in your bow.
Voila.
And also, if you don't want to dance on the door, bring your own floor. That we learned today.
Oh, yes.
That was a good one.
Thank you very much. That was not an easy door.
It's
That's really
been
cool too.
so amazing to have you guys on this show and just
God.
listen to everything that you have to say.
It was fun to
It's
be
been an
here, to
honor.
see all the people together.
Thank you.
And I'm
And
looking at all these
thank you to
people.
Peter too, who's on the side whispering things.
Yeah, how sweet.
And thanks for doing it, because we're talking about producing, and this is doing something, and it's great to
Yeah.
archive.
It's good.
Yeah, I
talks
think we
memory.
maybe we're pointing like producer for the people that was in the revival, but I think it's still a thing. We need people producing right now too.
Yeah.
So
Completely.
yeah, and small towns that tap didn't arrive yet. So you need to like maybe you can produce something so the scene of tap dancing is growing in that place too. So it's not waiting for somebody to do it. If you have a vision, just do it.
Just do. produce, like you're saying, produce a small show. Doesn't have to be, we've done that so many times, like in a little rent a thing and do something. You like, even if 10 people come, 10 people have come.
There's maybe people
Next time
swear like, oh, maybe I'm not ready. I think we're never ready for anything, but depending which is your audience, maybe you're ready. So just like,
No, you have to be mentally ready, okay?
Mhm.
Mentally ready and physically ready. I mean, you can be, hey, wow, all these things, and you go out there and you don't know what foot to put in front of the other. So you have
But
to
also
you
a
know.
big part of this is the financial aspect. I think also there's a lot of people who cannot afford
Well,
to
for
do
sure.
it,
Yes, of course. Hey,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Thank you, Kirsty.
So let's keep supporting small businesses when
Yes.
the pandemic. Don't let it kill everything.
don't throw away old doors. Keep them, okay?
The doors, yes.
They're
if
coming
you see a
handy.
door in the street, bring it up.
Bring
Yeah.
it on. Oh
So,
my God.
All right.
maybe there's
Thank you. Any-
just to finish, there's like, I think the advice is that one, no? Just
What?
tap dance.
I think just,
This is
Yeah.
the advice for the people for these
I
3
think-
sessions.
I think just dance, 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 dance.
We have it.
Tap your feet, dance, listen to music. Listen to music. It's good. When you're sorry and sad, listen to music.
Mhm.
You want to dance, put on some music. Dance to music, dance without music. Hey, we're lucky we can dance.
Yes.
Imagine if you had one foot. On that note,
Thank you guys so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
thank you.
For
Thank
the
you.
audience, me and Estefanía will be back soon with somebody new and exciting.
Sure.
So
Thank
you,
you.
Leela and
Think
Sarah.
about it.
It's been an honor to have you with us, really.
And thank you
Thank
to
you.
all these people here writing little
Yes.
notes. So
Yay.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you, people, for coming in and for writing these lovely questions. They were
Yes.
great today.
Okay.
Really nice. So,
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Namaste.
Bye.